Today, let's go beyond the headlines. We're going to dig deep into the soil of one constituency in Nagaland, Shamator Chessore, to really understand what the people are saying. See, this isn't just about who won or who lost. This is about the data of democracy. It's a blueprint for governance, written by the voters themselves.
So, this is Shamator Chessore. It's more than a place on a map. Nestled in eastern Nagaland, it's home to the proud Yimchungar and Yimkung tribes. Just in 2022, it became a new district, and with that came new hopes, new aspirations. To understand the politics here, you have to understand the people and their land first. Their identity, it's woven into every single vote. And that brings us to the heart of the matter, a real political puzzle. How does a major political force, a party that once held the trust of nearly half the people, fall so far, so fast, that it almost disappears from the electoral map? The answer? Well, it tells us everything we need to know about the modern voter.
To solve that puzzle, we have to start where everything begins, on the ground. We need to understand the ground truth, the daily lives, the real struggles, and the quiet hopes of the people who walk into that polling booth. This is the soil from which any real mandate grows.
Take a look at this number, 85.77%. In the 2023 election, nearly 86 out of every 100 people who could vote did vote. This is not a quiet, sleepy constituency. This is a place where people believe in democracy, and they practice it with passion. Let's be absolutely clear. A turnout this high is the polar opposite of apathy. This signals a community that is deeply, personally invested in what comes next. They see their vote as a powerful tool, a way to demand change, to demand accountability. They are actively trying to shape their own destiny.
The context here is everything. This is a scheduled tribes reserve seat, so the identity of the Yimchungar and Yimkung communities is absolutely central. The new district status was a huge moment of pride and hope, but the reality remains one of significant underdevelopment. These are the foundational facts that shape every political decision.
So, what are the people actually asking for? It's not about complex ideology. It's about the fundamentals of a dignified life. They want roads that don't get washed away every monsoon. They want decent schools for their kids and a clinic they can get to when someone is sick. They want jobs for their young people, and they want transparency, an end to corrupt practices like table tenders that they feel cheat them of their future.
You know, the government itself recognized this gap. They launched outreach tours with this very slogan. But think about that phrase for a second, bringing governance to your doorstep. It's an admission, isn't it? It confirms that for too many people, governance has felt distant, something far away in a capital city. The people are simply demanding that this distance be closed. It's a call for dignity, for informed public discourse, where every voice matters and every concern is treated with responsibility.
Okay, so we've felt the pulse on the ground. Now let's pull back the lens and look at the patterns over time. To really decode what happened in 2023, we need to take a 30-year X-ray of the constituency's electoral history. And the data, it tells a fascinating story.
You see, power here is not an inheritance. It's a lease granted by the voters, and they decide when the lease is up. We see these clear cycles of change, a decade of Congress rule, then the rise of a powerful regional force, the NPP, and now the era of the NDPP. The key takeaway: the voter here is not blindly loyal to any one-party flag. Their loyalty is earned, and it's conditional on performance.
Let's look at the hard numbers. Zero in on 2008. The NPF wins with a massive 48.5% of the vote. They were the undisputed voice of the people. Now jump forward to 2023. The NDPP wins with an even more decisive 56% mandate. The story here isn't just about who won. It's about the massive swing. The space for opposition, the anti-incumbent vote, it has completely shifted to a new address.
Which brings us right back to our central mystery. The data showed us what happened. Now we have to perform an anatomy of this political collapse to understand why it happened. How did a party with such deep roots just wither away?
This chart tells the story visually, and it's dramatic. From a peak of nearly half the vote, the NPF's support base starts to bleed. It gets cut nearly in half by 2018. And then the bottom falls out. It's not a decline. It's a political cliff. It drops to less than 1%, a virtual disappearance. And let's make that real, 146. That's it. That is the total number of votes the NPF got in 2023. Let that number just hang in the air for a moment.
In a constituency where over 16,000 people cast their ballot, 146. That number isn't a statistic, it's a signal of a complete and total breakdown. So what does it signal? The analysis is blunt because it has to be. A result like this points to a deep systemic failure. It's not about one bad election cycle. It speaks to a total collapse of the party's organization on the ground and a critical failure to put forward a candidate that people could see as a credible champion for their future. We can break this collapse down into 3 clear systemic failures. First, organizational decay. The party's presence in the villages just faded away. Leaders left, morale plummeted. Second, they lost the opposition space. When voters were unhappy, they looked for an alternative, and the NPF was no longer it. And third, and maybe most important, their message was disconnected. Talking about a legacy of nationalism just doesn't connect when a family's biggest worry is how to get a sick child to the nearest clinic on a broken road.
But just diagnosing the problem isn't enough. The data must also show us a path forward. From this anatomy of a collapse, we can build a prescription for revival. And this isn't just for one party. It's a framework for any political force that has lost its way, that has lost its connection to the people. It's built on 4 strong pillars. We call this the Chaturmukha Doctrine, a 4-phase strategy that looks in every direction. 1. Grassroots mobilization. You have to be present year-round, not just at election time. 2. Issue messaging. Your story must be about tangible, local solutions. 3. Candidate development. You have to find and nurture leaders from the soil of the constituency itself. And 4. Community engagement. You have to work with the institutions people already trust, their tribal councils, their church networks. Now, a strategy on a slide is one thing. Execution is another. So let's translate this framework into a concrete, actionable plan. How do you actually build a blueprint for governance that is truly centered on the people? Here's the playbook. Step 1, you launch a reset campaign. You have to acknowledge past failures to rebuild trust. Step 2, find a local candidate who embodies the community's hopes. Step 3, make specific promises with public deadlines. Don't just promise a school that will be open by next year. Step 4, tackle corruption head-on. And Step 5, be visible everywhere, speaking the language of the people. What this all adds up to is a fundamental shift in the political narrative. It's about moving from relying on the past to building a tangible future. It's shifting from party-first appeals to people-first solutions. And it's about bringing the focus down from the big stage of state politics to the very real grievances of every single village.
And why does this matter so much? Because there is a very real return on this investment in good governance. When you focus on people, you create jobs. You build infrastructure that actually lasts. You make sure welfare reaches the last person in the line. You create systems to solve problems. And the ultimate return, the most valuable political capital there is public trust. This trust is built on a foundation of respecting people's privacy and their choices, a core principle that frameworks like India's DPDP aim to uphold, ensuring that engagement is always based on consent.
So, as we wrap up, what is the final word from the people of Shamator Chessore? What is the core lesson that their clear mandate teaches all of us? It's a powerful lesson about the very foundation of democratic legitimacy. The single most important lesson is this: never, ever underestimate the voter. They are smart. They are watching. Their loyalty isn't given away for free to a flag or a symbol. It is a calculated investment in the future of their family, their community. And that investment can be moved at any time. And that brings us full circle, back to that incredible 86% turnout. It's a double-edged sword. For any government in power, it's a constant warning. The people are engaged, and they will hold you accountable. But for democracy itself, it is a brilliant ray of hope. It proves the system works. And so I'll leave you with this final thought. Is the story of Shamator Chessore just a local story about one remote constituency? Or does the data from this soil, from these hills, actually provide a blueprint for the future of people-centric politics across our entire nation? The answer, I think, lies in listening. If you want to become a people-centric leader and uplift your constituency, get in touch with blueprintstrategies.ai at mgr@blueprintstrategies.ai. or call 080-4204-1602. Purpose beyond politics.